Yes, people, we all are in search of love. We need it. We need to be understood. There's a desire to be understood.
Yes.
There's a desire to be listened to. There's a desire to just know that someone is there.
For the therapy to work, we need to look for a good therapist. Not all therapists are the same, are created equal. So as Christians, we rely on our peers and also our pastors, our spiritual leaders, but we have to rely on God. God is the best therapist, can help us to inspire us and empower us to continue the journey of gratitude.
But understand, it's a process. It's a process. Sometimes we don't want to go through the process, so we abandon God's words. Don't abandon God's word in your process. Don't abandon God's words in your process. In John 17:17, he says, sanctify them through thy word. Thy word is truth. See, there are many things we can't trust in this life, but I can guarantee you, you can trust God's word.
Gratitude, thanking God for who he is, right? What he has done. You know, what we're doing here, the perspective here is that God, and Dr. Lee said it so correctly about God being the therapist. God, right, is in charge of the content of my life.
Sometimes we have distorted predictions. God designed our mind to be able to process a potential outcome. That is something that other creatures don't necessarily have the ability to do. We have the ability. That is a God design. Having God's DNA in us, he gave us a fraction of who he is and his ability to see from the beginning and the end. And he allowed us to be able to project with our thoughts, what could the potential outcome be if I XYZ?
Hello, hello, hello. And I just want to say welcome to another exciting episode of Zoom Hope Live. I am just excited to be here. What we're going to discuss today, it's going to be amazing. It's love, relationship, and marriage. It's going to be awesome. But of course, we know there's some things that we need to get to first. Visit our website at zoomhopelive.org, and we want you to just have a blast over there. Read our blogs, those that which we have, looking past episodes, and of course, go over to our social media arms, and we want you to look at our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and please like and follow us on YouTube. We're asking you to, of course, it's subscribe. So subscription man, he's exciting, and he wants us to get those subscription up. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Today, we're talking about, as I've said, love, relationship, and marriage. And we want you to feel free to share. Start by first sharing this link. You're watching it, press that share button and make sure that your families, your friends are a part of this encounter today on our love month. All right, so please share also your comments. We want to know what you're thinking, and also please ask your questions. We want to get there. Please let us know also where you're watching from. I see my twin sister Laverne. I know you're coming in from Jamaica. Happy Sabbath to you. So let us know that you're watching. Let us know exactly where you're coming into us from. Well, today is going to be great. I can tell you that. And you want to be a part of what is going down. It's about to get big. It's about, yeah. It's about to be special. So bring your loved one nearby, and we're gonna enter into some love vibes. So let me start by introducing you, or just have a little chit chat with our guest. The doctor is in the house, and you can call him Dr. Lovevine for the occasion, because guess what? It's Valentine's season, and we're not going to just let this pass by, not on Zoom Up Live. We're going to make sure that we infuse some love into your context. So let us bring on our guest presenter and panelist, who is Dr. Peter Joseph. Dr. Joe, how are you doing?
Yes.
Back to Zoom Up Live.
It's good. It's good to see you, and of course your entire ministry supporters online who have been with you for a long time. It's great to be here, and what a time to talk about love, eh? It's Valentine's, and here's the point: none of us would be here without love, and none of us can survive without love.
Not one. Well,
so we're digging into that.
I recall a couple years ago you did an entire evangelistic series, a crusade surrounding
that was
love
great.
and the family, and that was an encounter. I really still remember that. So today we're talking about love, relationship, and marriage, and we're going to delve into that shortly. But persons want to know, who is Dr. Joseph? Who is this love doctor?
I mean, you're kind, I guess, to give me that name. I don't know. But we'll see what happens.
Right. So I'm looking forward to hear from you. Please tell, other than the fact I know that you're a pastor here in the South Bahamas Conference, you are also a consultant in family ministries, leadership, and so forth. But I want you to tell us introduce us to yourself. Tell us a little bit about who is Dr. Peter Joseph.
Yeah, well, every time I talk about myself, I like to talk first about my conversion. So back in 1980, I surrendered my life to Jesus Christ and was baptized, became a member. In fact, I was baptized by the Spirit-filled evangelist, Dr. Roosevelt Daniels, and I became a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in New Winthrop's church in Antigua. So from there, I grew up, developing the gifts that God has given me through the various departments of the church, really. And then I sensed a call to pastoral ministry and left for Jamaica. I think it was back in 1987. And then from there, went back, gave 10 years of ministry in the Caribbean. And then I came to the Bahamas. So when I was getting married to Michelle Green, my father-in-law, Pastor McKinney, told me, listen, if you plan to get married to a Bahamian woman, remember, you're going to have to come to the Bahamas. And I didn't really believe him until when we were living in St. Croix, United States Virgin Islands. I noticed certain talks started to come up. And then, the rest is history. So I'm here in the Bahamas. And it's been great. I've done ministry here in all the levels of churches, small, medium, large. I've pastored the 3 largest churches here as well. Of course, God has blessed me with quite a bit of higher education. I thank God for that. But I just want to be right with God. That's just it. I want to be right with God. No matter what's going on, I want to know that I'm right with God. I think that's what drives me in this life. My first work is to be with God. Everything else is my second work. My first work is to be with God.
Right. So I appreciate that. So folks, you have heard who is Dr. Peter Joseph. He's a family spiritual leadership, evangelism, and discipleship consultant. And with that, we are having a treat today. Well certified, well qualified in these fields. And I remember the journey even with you in your doctoral work.
Yeah.
And I am seeing so much of that, being infused in your presentations, whether it is sermons, seminars, or even various interventions. They are very much a part of that. And let me not leave this out. Dr. Peter Joseph is my mentor in my personal life, and also in my educational and professional life.
Yes.
And definitely I appreciate you, and just to be on the show today. Well, that's a lot of chit chat.
Before you go, let's just say happy birthday to Newton. Today's his birthday.
All right.
Our first son, myself and Michelle, our first son, Newton. And last week, February 4th, was Edmund's birthday. And the 17th, I think, is going to be next week. That's going to be my birthday. So
Awesome.
February affair, really.
That's it. You plan for the love month and the Black Man in Black History Month. All right. Awesome. So happy birthday, Edmund. Listen, Newton or Edmund?
Newton.
Newton. Happy birthday, Newton. God bless you, Pastor. May the Lord just continue to keep you. All right. So we're gonna get into it shortly. But just before we do so, folks, I want to remind you, please share this link. Also, subscribe to our channel. And as you prepare to do that, we have a treat for you. And we're going to talk about the reckless love from Joe Paul.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Been so good to me. So good. And when I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99, and I couldn't earn it. I still don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found. Leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I sure don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, so reckless, reckless, reckless. Oh, I'm so glad he's reckless.
Reckless love of God. Wow, that was really awesome. I was blessed by that. We're gonna jump right into today's presentation, and after we're gonna have the discussion. But just before we do that, we have a special offer for you, the Zoom Up family. So we want to send you today's booklet presentation. So you will not see it on screen, even though Dr. Joseph will be presenting it. And what we want you to do is to send us an email. You know how to send that email. Please send us an email to zoomhopelive@gmail.com. You'll see that across the screen sometime today. Zoomhopelive@gmail.com. And as you do that, we are going to send you today's offer for any small donation, any small love gift. So please send us a love gift, and we just want to give you today's presentation. You can do so. PayPal me at ZoomHopeLive, and we will send that to you. So send us that email at zoomhopelive@gmail.com. The same email you can send your love gift to Zoom Hope Live, and we will give you the booklet, which will be from Dr. Peter Joseph. So any love donation on this Love Day will be appreciated, as we will send you this gift. So Dr. Joseph, please talk to us today about love, relationship, and marriage. And of course, we will come back, we'll look at the question, comments, and we will have that discussion.
Okay. Thank you so much. And the recipients of the seminar, the presentation today, will notice that there are some questions that matter for couples at the bottom that of the presentation that they would be able to interact on. And that's why the presentation is really user friendly, because we want couples to engage after looking at the presentation. Now, you know, I often wonder why there is So much talk of love, and of course, so many hit songs on love. But clearly, there is a vacuum. There is a need for love. Many people in this world feel unloved, and so I think the presentation this afternoon is important. Here's my theme for the presentation. This is my theme for the presentation, and this is very important. The quality of our love relationship with God reflects the quality of all intimate dimensions of relationship between a husband and wife. This is my theme. I'm going to work this theme through the presentation. So, the quality of our love relationship with God reflects the quality of all intimate dimensions of relationship between a husband and a wife. Okay, this is absolutely important to understand. All dimensions, right? So, I want to just look at two theme texts. The first one is Matthew 22:37 through 40. Okay, the first one is Matthew 5, Matthew 5:44 to 48. So look at this text here. Look at what it says. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your brothers, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Jesus was talking about love. And then Matthew 22, I think all of you know, this is another one of the theme texts for today. Matthew 22 from verse 37. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like unto it, love your neighbor as yourself. So let me go into the introduction here. Many people come into marriage and come into relationships with a secular view of love. Many people. They come into relationships and they come into marriage with a secular view of love. And there are deep and abiding secular beliefs that produce demonstrably selfish behaviors and attitude. The secular beliefs include love is romance and feelings. Love is unconditional love, even to the point of accepting abusive behavior. Love is having my needs met. These are secular views, the secular views, right? And lots of people come into relationships and into marriage with a secular view of love. Now, as such, the expectation is, how can I get love and not how can I show love? Meaning, how can I get more romance? The fact is, this kind of emotional love is unsustainable because it is rooted in the domain of feelings. It is just like Christmas. Every day can't be Christmas. Right? So while romantic love should be experienced, it should not stand alone. This is the critical point, but grow as a byproduct of godly love or Christian love. And I'm going to dig into that a little later. Right now, there's a flurry of resources existing today which address emotional love. And you know some of them. The 5 love languages. Anybody read that? Anybody been through that? Yeah. 5 love languages. Okay. I like the book. It's great. Remember the point I just made. We're not telling you throw out emotional love. That's not what we're saying. We're saying it ought to be a byproduct of godly love, Christian love, because it's unsustainable like that, without that. Okay. 5 love languages, his needs, her needs, making love last forever, right? Like Gary Smalley, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right? Y'all know those. Look at this one here. I was just reading this one yesterday. Men are like waffles, women are like spaghetti. Boundaries. These are some, just but a few of resources that highlight emotional love and happiness. For many of us, love has a strong emotional content. For many of us, it's a strong emotional content. And that is true, okay? As Barclay says, it is that outreach, an upsurge of the heart, which we feel for those who are very near and dear to us. The idea is that we are needs-based creatures. That's the idea. And that's why emotional love flourishes here. It was Abraham Maslow that promulgated the human hierarchy of needs. Most of you know that. But here's this point. Anytime someone has a philosophy of life that is based on my needs, which is self, they are likely to fall into the trap of being unloving, selfish, vain, or proud. Consider the Apostle Paul and the Lord Jesus Christ. Neither one had their needs to be loved by everyone met, yet they continued to show love to God and to others. Their focus was on what God wanted them to do. Now, that was their joy and hence their satisfaction. We, on the other hand, are naturally lovers of ourselves. If you are struggling with being unloving and having a wrong view of love, perhaps you are looking for the wrong kind of love. And I read that from Martha Peace in her book, The Excellent Wife. It's time for a course correction. Okay, we need to course correct. We need to repent and embrace the biblical understanding of love. So that's where I stand. The biblical understanding of love, which is godly love or Christian love. It's amazing the abuse of the word love. Okay, you love your cat, you love your wife, you love your husband, you love ice cream, you love candies, you love juju, right? Green, remember those juju we had yesterday, right? So it's the whole abuse. Everything is your love, right? Now, in the Bible now, when you look at the Greek, there were 4 words used for love, right? And the specificity is really important, right? So the words are eros, E-R-O-S, that's one, or sexual love and passion, right? So when you're talking about passion, you're talking about sexual love, talking about intense emotion, right? The intense emotional content in love and sex, the word was used eros, E-R-O-S. So you knew exactly what was meant, okay? When somebody is dealing with a highly charged emotional content, they would use eros. Philia, P-H-I-L-I-A, or a deep affection that keep 2 people together after passion is gone, right? Philia, okay, that keeps 2 persons together even after passion is gone. In fact, in Titus chapter 2, 3-4, Paul instructed the older women. He said to them, listen, teach the younger women how to love their husbands. That's what Paul said, right? And I think in our day, if we try to balance it and make it mutual, older men teach the younger men how to love their wives. Okay? But we first have to know if we're gonna do it. Okay, so all right. So that's philia. And then the third is storge. Okay, Storge. Right? And that's love of children for parents and brothers. So love of children for parents, brothers for sisters, right? And this is a love void of sex, right? That's storge. And then here's the one that most of us have heard, agape, right? Agape. So these are 4 words for love used in the Bible, right? Agape. Now, what is agape? This is what we call the Christian love. It is an attitude to other people. It is the set of the will towards others. So notice here, attitude and will. It is the attitude of goodwill that cannot be altered, a desire for others' good that nothing can kill. Quite clearly, this is not simply a response of the heart. This is not an emotional reaction. This is an act of the will. In this, it is not simply our heart that goes out to others. It's our whole personality. Our whole personality. So our all is in this relationship. Our all, right? When you hear people say, when I love really strong, right? I mean, they're giving it their all. And this is why there's so much disappointment when people have given their all and, the other person messes up. So I just quoted from Barclay again. Now, let's look at agape. Agape is transcendent love that can be given to us by God through the abiding of the Holy Spirit. It's God's love, right? Galatians 5:22. We don't get that by self-generating it or by osmosis. We get it from God, agape. Okay. It is this love that protects marriages from attitudes of abuse in sex, parenting, communication, and friendship. Moreover, in this love, the goal of marriage is attained. What is the goal of marriage? The goal of marriage is to glorify God. The goal of any relationship is really to glorify God. Glorifying God is seen in oneness of bonding and spiritual growth between spouses. So there is a oneness in bonding. There is a oneness in bonding and there is spiritual growth. Okay, we'll get into that before we are done. Oneness in bonding, spiritual growth of the spouses, important. Okay, the goal connects marriage to its spiritual ancestry. And a lot of people must understand that relationships, particularly marriage, has what we call a spiritual ancestry. God gave marriage as a gift to human beings and also gave instructions on how to protect it, right? Genesis chapter 2, 18 through 24. So take a look at the 3 dynamics in marriage at creation. 3 dynamics. You see high physical attraction. High physical attraction. You see a covenant, right, or commitment, and then you see oneness and deep spiritual intimacy. That's how relationship moves, okay? They kind of move from this awareness that there is something here that I can work with, right? And when Adam saw Eve, he said, whoa, man, as one preacher said. Right?
Yes.
One preacher said that. Okay, I don't remember his name. What's his name? Okay, I can't remember his name right now. Okay. Anyway, when he saw Eve, there was real physical attraction.
Right.
Physical attraction is important. Okay. And then it is a movement, of course, to covenant and commitment, right? And then oneness, right? It's in the oneness, in the bonding, that we're going to find some other kinds of intimacies. Okay, so let's go closer. Let's look closer. Let's look closer here. Oneness requires the development of intimacy. Stick with me. Oneness requires the development of intimacy. Just as intimacy with God, and you know where that comes from your justification, your sanctification. Just as that requires grace, Holy Spirit, prayer, Bible study, community of faith, communion, service, witnessing, so also intimacy between husband and wife is a byproduct of love, acceptance, understanding, knowledge, and time. Love, acceptance, understanding, knowledge, and time. Love, acceptance, understanding, knowledge, and time. Intimacy is a byproduct of those. So, let me just read this to you from one of my longtime professors, Mazad. Look at this. Couples who marry want more than common address. They want total intimacy. They hope to find acceptance, understanding, and love. They look forward to an inner warmth, a closeness that distinguishes their relationship from every other relationship they have. So, but even though marriage provides the very best setting, intimacy is not automatic, instantaneous, mystical result of marriage. It is the byproduct of love, understanding, knowledge, and time. It would be simpler, of course, if a guarantee of intimacy in its various dimensions came attached to the marriage certificate. That would be a good thing, right? If a guarantee of intimacy came with the marriage certificate, that would be easy, right? But no, you're going to have to develop it. But it will not be appreciated as growth producing. Some couples look to marriage to give them love, warmth, affection, and happiness. Actually, that is not the role of marriage. Some couples look to marriage to give them love, warmth, affection, and happiness. Actually, that's not the role of marriage. Each partner must bring into the marriage the ability to give love and affection and have a habit of happiness. So it's what you bring into the marriage. You have to bring it into the marriage. So if you bring a habit of misery and miserableness, you want to use that word, I'm making up a word, into the marriage, how are you going to expect happiness? You bring misery into the marriage. When these elements join together in the advantageous setting that marriage can provide, a wondrous intimacy can result. So Mazad is right. Now, intimacy in marriage. Listen to this. Part two. Intimacy in marriage. Listen to this. You know, Ellen White at one wedding years ago pulled the couple aside and said these words to the couple. Make God your counselor. Watch this. Make God your counselor. Blend and blend together. Blend. And, you know, a lot of people think that Ellen White only spoke about prophecies and so on. They thought she wasn't interested in intimate marriage, right? No, Ellen White was serious about intimacy in marriage. So she said, make God your counselor. And then she says, blend and blend together. Blend and blend together. Okay. Adventist Home, page 102. Now, in a relationship with God, every spouse should put God first. Under God, every husband should put his wife first, and every wife should put her husband first. God, husband and wife, forms the context for the various dimensions of intimacy. Now we are going into deep waters. Watch this. God, husband and wife, form the context for deep intimacy. So you have God as your counselor, but you have to blend together. So marriage, oneness, bonding, and spiritual growth, right? Okay, so let's look now at the dimensions of intimacy. The dimensions of intimacy, right? 1, emotional intimacy, emotional intimacy, and all these. I'm gonna bring these functional definition from Mazart, right? Okay, emotional intimacy in marriage concerns how well a wife and husband feel connected, cared for, loved, listened to, accepted, cherished. We have a need to share deeply with someone to whom we have entrusted our love and faithfulness. Marriage provides the best setting for the growth of emotional intimacy, feeling connected. I've heard so much of this kind of dissatisfaction. I don't feel connected to her. I don't feel connected to him. The feeling connected, feeling cared for, feeling listened to. Or he doesn't listen, she doesn't listen. Okay, intellectual intimacy. I'll move quickly right here. Intellectual intimacy is about sharing ideas and thoughts. Frankly, it's about talking. It's about talking. You know what troubles me, Green? Okay, let me tell you. I was dating Michelle. I was living in Antigua at that time. We didn't have all this sophistication that technology brings now. So we only had like cable and wireless phone at that time. And the phone, and I was on an intern salary. Green, I'm going to tell you this. I remember 1 month, almost my whole salary went on phone call. And I know what we're talking about. We just talk. And I noticed that kind of intellectual intimacy where we talk about ideas and, we talk about a lot of other things where people feel that they're valued in the relationship. I notice when people are married now, it seems like they forget how to talk. Okay. Like they forget how to talk. So we have to get people talking again. Okay. Sexual intimacy. The act of this meeting of the bodies has been described in the Bible in every descriptive words. Of course, Solomon, look at Proverbs 5:19. This is really potent. Wishes that a man will always be captivated by his wife's love. The word has also been translated, right? When Solomon says, be ravished by the love, ravished, delighted, transported, intoxicated, transcended. Love can still lift you. It's not just the hymn, love lifted me. In marriage, love can really lift you really high. You can really get a high on love in marriage. So, again and again, we are helped in understanding that God meant sexuality to be no average gift. Okay, look at spiritual intimacy. Spiritual intimacy. Without God, there would be no marriage because marriage came from God. God constituted it. God gave instructions to protect it. He performed the first ceremony, given the principle, they will become one flesh. This principle is still spoken today. Jesus honored marriage. Jesus went to the wedding in Cana and the wine ran out, and you know what happened, right? Jesus performed the miracle right there at that marriage. And we will notice that in relationships, we are going to need God. We're going to need Jesus because some things run out. Sometimes we run out of patience. Yeah, we do. Sometimes we run out of patience. It's in relationships that our sanctification is really tested. And we need Jesus to help us. Okay, so the last, I think this is almost done here. Garden intimacy. So we see the various dimensions of intimacy, right? So we can't come into a marriage with a secular understanding of love. It has to be a biblical understanding of love. And the biblical understanding of love shows us clearly how the love of God is manifested in the various dimensions of intimacy. Okay, now we have to protect intimacy. That is very important. We have to protect the intimacy. Nobody's going to protect it for you, right? If you have a plant You have to water it. You have to tend to it. You have to make sure you protect it. Now, so how do you guard the intimacy? Friendship. Friendship. So you have to develop friendship or keep the friendship going that you had before. People who have at least one really good friend do better in almost every conceivable way of life, especially in terms of physical and mental health. Oh, I hope somebody hears that. If there's any friend you should have, should be your husband, your wife. You shouldn't be around the table and thinking in your mind, God, you have prepared a table for me in the presence of mine enemy. Right? That person should be your friend. And hear what Markman and Stanley and Bloomberg said, that if you have one friend, things can be better in every conceivable way of life, especially physical and mental health. So, friendship. We have to build friendship. There's a whole process where you keep building friendship. Have more friendship talks than conflict talks. Too many times, the talks are all about conflict issues, right? We need more friendship talks, less conflict talks. 2, play together. Play together. You know, many times people, we get so busy that we no longer play together. Fun is healing for marriage. So don't put fun and laughter on the back burner. You have to play together. You have to have fun. You have to have time to laugh. All of those are important, productive factors for marriage. Protect your sex life. Protect your sex life. Fun is healing for marriage. We mentioned that. So protect your sex life. Decreasing interest in sex often is a major issue for couples. The lack of sensuality often leads to diminishing interest in sex as priority in relationship. Notice that, the lack of sensuality. What is that about? Sensuality includes physical touching or other senses, but is not always associated with making love. We'd include holding, hands, hugging, romantic talk, affectionate cuddling, non-sexual messages, all acts that provide sexual arousal and pleasure in non-sexual ways. They're called, that this is sensuality. Okay, now, look at this one here now. I was, oh, this was something else that I saw here. Okay, let me read it. By bypassing sensuality to get to goal-oriented sexual behavior, eliminate the sensual activities, the sensual activities, and make persons feel not connected, right? So if you bypass the sensual phase, then people don't feel connected. And before long, sex becomes performance and not intimacy. And many couples feel either used or inadequate. Be mindful of the visual orientation of men and the emotional and conversational orientation of women. So I was telling you about this book earlier that I read, right? Men are like waffles and women are like spaghetti. Okay, so this is what he says. How to impress a woman. Men, how to impress a woman. Compliment her, cuddle her, love her, hold her, spend money on her, tease her, dine her, buy things for her, listen to her, care for her, stand by her, support her, go to the ends of the earth for her. So this he was talking about the marriage bedroom. That's what he was talking about. He was talking about the marriage bedroom, and they were saying how to impress a woman. He was So the men, these are all the things they're saying, right? These two writers, how to impress a woman. And you're going to get the punchline. Watch this again. I'm going. How to impress the woman. Compliment her, cuddle her, love her, hold her, spend money on her, tease her, dine her, buy things for her, listen to her, care for her, stand by her, support her, go to the ends of the earth for her. Okay, that's all about the bedroom, right? And then the question green, listen to this. How to impress a man. You know what the answer is? Women, how to impress a man, the bedroom. This is the answer they gave. Show up naked. That's all.
That's it.
That's the answer.
That part.
So I was telling my wife that the man has a lot of work to do, right? Okay. So, all right, number 4. So I'm talking about protecting intimacy. Okay. Practice faith together. A study of religious life in marriage by Annette Mahoney points out this very important point, that people who practice their faith together tend to be more satisfied with their relationship, and they tend to stay together. Remember, I said practice them together, not just believe in them together, but practicing them together. Here's something here. Kenny Pergamet et al. At Bowling Green State University discovered, listen to this, couples who actively practice their faith together and tended to, to a view of marriage as having transcendent meaning, tended to be happier, to have less conflict, to work more as a team, and to engage less in what we call danger signs. So people from different backgrounds, but share and practice the same core beliefs, are less likely to divorce. Shared activities often work well for men. Keep that in mind, while talking excites women. Okay, number 6, I'm almost out of here. To protect intimacy, set reasonable, clear motivational expectations. You need to be clear on your expectations. Spouses need to be aware of one another's expectation in the area of boundaries, how much investment you should make in the relationship, who makes decisions, how we make decisions, is power shared. Couples should work together to meet the expectations. 7, protecting intimacy, forgiveness. We have to learn how to forgive, because we are all broken, imperfect people in a relationship that has an ideal that we should be at a certain very high level. We break, we get into trouble, we are broken people, so forgiveness is important. What forgiveness will do is always put the two persons on equal footing. Forgiveness will put the two persons on equal footing. 8, resist selfishness, bitterness, and fear. You know, Gary Smalley said that he believed the number one problem in relationship is unresolved anger, which is bitterness, right? But these 3 need to be looked at. And Martha Peace talk about them. We should resist into selfishness, bitterness, and fear, right? Resist those. 9, commitment. All couples need to be in relationship for the long haul. This commitment should be communicated in words and strengthening security. If you are having conflicts and you have to talk hard on an issue, it should always be clear that no matter what happens, we're going to be together. There has to be the talk of security. People must not feel that they're not secure in the relationship, right? You cannot make people feel insecure. So even when you're having some hard conversation on hard issues, right, it must always be said or be voiced that, listen, no matter what happens, we're going to be together. We're going to work this out together. We're going to get through this together. So this commitment should be communicated in words that will strengthen security. So here is the course correction as we move forward. If you have a secular view of marriage or secular view of relationship, I'm advising you to take up a biblical view of love and relationship. If you have a secular view of love, a secular view of marriage, take up a biblical view of love, relationships, and marriage. Because if you have a secular view, you're going to have a relationship that tend many times to go in the way of selfishness and bitterness and fear. You need a biblical view where you have a love that's self-giving, right? Where you come to this marriage asking not what your wife can do for you, but what you can do for your wife. Asking not what your husband can do for you, but what you can do for your husband. How both of you can work this marriage. Okay, so that is important. So here is course correction. And I was reading something from Gary Smalley, Making Love Last Forever. And I think I'll share this with you as I close. So Gary Smalley went to the doctor to get his results because he did a lot of tests. He wasn't doing well. And so he got the test. And while in the doctor's office, he got the test and he was just there, making a mockery of the test, like, laughing and whatever, not taking it on. And then he saw a picture of the Titanic on the wall. So he asked the doctor, is that a picture of the Titanic? And the doctor said, yes. So the doctor asked him, do you know anything about the Titanic? He said, not much. Okay, and the doctor started telling him some things about the Titanic and all of that. Okay. Now, the section that got to me, right, is this. The doctor said to him, the experienced captain of the Titanic was warned 6 separate times to slow down, change course, and take the southern route because icebergs had been sighted. But he ignored all 6 specific warnings because he was captain and he thought the ship is unsinkable. Let me say this to you. No marriage is unsinkable. No relationship is unsinkable. When you see warning signs, make a course correction. That's very important. And the secret for you staying together is always to face up to your reality. Accept the warning. Make the course correction. Because if you do it together, right, the relationship will last. Gary Smalley said when the doctor said that to him, right, he was just listening to hear what else the doctor was going to say. After the doctor said to him 6 times, the captain of the Titanic was told, right, icebergs have been sighted, change course. The doctor said to Gary Smalley, how many times have I warned you about your heart? Because he had a heart issue, and yet he was not changing his lifestyle. So Gary Smalley decided, you know what? From that day, I'm going to change my lifestyle. I'm going to change my lifestyle. Listen, changes are needed every day in our relationships. We go through developmental stages. Sometimes we don't see things the way we ought to see them. But guess what? If we are willing to make the changes, if we are willing to make the necessary changes, I think sometimes we're too hard-headed, we're too bullheaded. Down in the Caribbean, we used to say you're too hardened. Some people are just hardened, right? They don't want to change. If you're willing to course correct all the time, course correct, right? With God's help, your relationship could last a very long time. So, Green, I think I'm going to stop right here. I think I said a whole lot of things.
Wow, wow, wow. As you said that last phrase, I remembered two things that are connected. My wife and I, our counseling or premarital counseling, as well as your last statement at our wedding. You said, Dr. Johnson, I've had a whole long time with these folks. And I think they're ready for marriage.
Yes.
Definitely. Wow, a whole lot to take in. And I was really many times in the background going through the chat and reading the comments, especially by our social media contributor, Colin Major. And it's a lot. It's a lot that we are all taking in. And I know it can be beneficial for all of us. Persons who are single, persons who are married, and even persons who are exposed to be married. So if you enjoy what has been given to us, dished out by Dr. Joseph, we want you to light up the comments, let us know, and please, we're going to go to your questions and your comments right away as we interact on love, relationship, and marriage, which has been presented by Dr. Peter Joseph. I really believe that all of us should know who is Dr. Joseph. So if you're just joining, let me let you know Dr. Joseph is a consultant of family, spiritual leadership, evangelism, and discipleship consultant. He's a pastor also here in the South Bahamas Conference. He has international recognition. He is a member of the Association of Certified Biblical Counseling in the United States of America, a marriage officer here in the Bahamas, a justice of the peace, married for 30 years to Michelle Joseph Nee McKinney. And I could say so much more. And guess what? Today he comes to give us the verbal and digital presentation, but he also has an offer that he is given to you through the Zoom ministry, and that is love, relationship, and marriage. So all you got to do, you can send a small gift of any kind. It's $1. Send it to Zoom, paypal.me/Zoom Hope Live. We will see your email and we will send you that offer right away. So it's on the screen, and just as beautiful as the cover is the content. So please, we're asking you for this love gift on Valentine. It can do your marriage a whole lot of good. PayPal me/Zoom Hope Live. Let's get to I have a few questions, Dr. Joseph, right? But I want us to start by interacting with our viewers. Colin Major, just pick this one up from the bottom. He said, great insight from this presentation. And Sharon Brown, I guess now relating to Karen, say Karen, Alyssa, Vaughn, Kellerman, that's really all my husband requires. and I know you know what that is. That makes him a happy man every time. And I can agree with that. And let's see what Karen has to say. LOL, show up naked, mercy. And of course, you talk about the whole matter of that kind of intimacy. In fact, you in your document, you call that help me out. You call that protect the sex life. You talk about protecting the sex life. So let me first come from there. you say protect your sex life. Decreasing, this was your statement.
Yeah.
Decreasing interest in sex often is a major issue for a couple. And the question that many persons are talking, I see a couple on my WhatsApp. Why? How do I recognize early signs? How do I rekindle?
Okay, let me tell you exactly what is going on here as relates to decrease. Sometimes, you have people. Sometimes we go through issues of depression, right? Some kind of illness could cause decrease in sex. Some people reach certain developmental stages. They have chemical issues in their bodies that could cause decrease in sex, wanting sex, and the truth is too. It has to do a lot too sometimes with the kind of lifestyle that people actually are involved in. Lots of people are so busy, they don't have time to rest, they don't exercise, they don't eat right, and all these come together, right, to make you physically and energetically ready as a man and a woman for sexuality in the bedroom. So I think that's how that could happen. And then somebody asking how do you recognize that? Of course, you can recognize that early, right? Men, you know what happened to us with the whole idea of prostate issues and so on. You check your prostate. That is going to be important to constantly have your checks, right, and see what's going on in your bodies. Women can have maybe some traumas that come back to haunt them in their love relationship that could affect their sexuality as well. So you could have a number of different things that could cause a man or a woman, to have a decrease in sexual drive. And I'll put in a plug here for Dr. Evans, right? Dr. Evans is a guy who works very well, particularly with men, in the area of improving sexuality and so on. So I'll put a plug in for Dr. Evans here.
Right. So right away we know how. You make a point just now in terms of time and that. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, you kind of cut out a while ago. You're talking about time?
I am freezing.
I don't know what happened to your internet, but you're kind of cutting out. Ooh. This is too good to be facing problems. Talk to me, Green. What's happening?
Yes, sorry about that. That was my internet connection. So this is a whole chunk, right? But I want to read it. It's from Colin Major. It says, if intimacy involves shared experience, emotions, ideas, and sexual romance, it's going to require significant time together. You can fit it into 15 minutes increments here and there. For many married couples, however, time is in short supply. Work commitments, responsibilities, all right, work commitments, household chores, church involvement, transporting kids to their activities. All these good responsibilities fill our lives and keeps us traveling in different direction when a husband and wife pass like ship in the night. And of
Woo.
course, yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, this is exactly what I was saying, right?
mhm,
We have to know when to course correct. We have to know when to repent of our sins, right? And what he said is the reality. So friendship in marriage is declining because people are too busy for friendship, right?
mhm,
Couples are too busy to put in the time, to invest it. Playing together, having fun. No time. Okay? Because we don't understand that marriage is number one priority under God.
yeah.
You see, we got to get our priorities. And
Straight.
let me tell you this. You're listening to a man who had to repent, okay, and course correct. You have to understand that this he's right. This takes a certain amount of investment that's going to be based on what is guiding you in your head. Right? What is guiding you actually in your
Right.
head?
Yes. And of course he follows and he said, protect your marriage by spending time. Now, Keen Adams, he said, yes, I remember, and he's relating to as you're talking about the importance of building your communication life. And you talk about your experience with Michelle in a time where you didn't have WhatsApp, Snapchat, these other social media platforms that really you just need a little internet and you can talk forever. But in that time, you indicated that you spend almost all your salary. Keen in his I5 age, right? He said, yes, I remember the phone getting hot on my ears in the dating years. And today we can still work up a talk. So good for bonding, not so hard to impress, right? Most times. Talk a little bit about the importance of that, the relevance of
Yeah, I think, right, that conversations are important. Conversations are very important, right? We need to just talk together, right? Because I think it also builds the whole sensuality that is needed, where people
Right.
feel that they're valued, right? So we talk to one another, we listen to one another. But here is something that we need to understand about men and women. While women may enjoy just talking, right? Just talking together and talk all day, all night, or whatever. You just keep talking and keep talking, right? There's something about men, right, that causes men to have more shared activities. Shared activities, right? So a man often will talk and talk and talk, but after talking and talking, a man wants to talk and touch. Because a man is more into shared activities. Right? So I think that need to be understood also.
Right.
Right.
Right. Awesome. Now, folks, we're still looking for those comments. I have a ton of questions, but I'm trying to, make sure that we give you the time because we appreciate your presence and we appreciate the comments and questions. Now, this is a question that I have that is coming again from Colin, and thank you for these, Colin. I appreciate it. And you talk about the overuse of the word love in different things. Wow, I love this. Come on, right? You drink some juice. I love this juice, right? So you talk about it, and of course you did very well. I believe in breaking down the whole different kinds of love. But this question, can you wrap it up with a nice answer? What is the difference between adore, love, and like.
Between
Adore, love, and like.
okay, when you adore somebody, right? It's almost like you praise somebody, you value that person highly, right? For me, biblical love is attitude, it's will, it's choice, right? You're not gonna live happily ever after. There's some moments when things gonna be tough, but I choose to love you. I decide to love you. I make a commitment to have the best attitude of goodwill towards you, no matter what. That's love, right? That's love. That's the agape kind of love. Now, in that agape love, right, we find all the others can be undergirded, right? Like the emotional love we mentioned, the love in family that we mentioned, the sexual love, all undergirded right here. Now, like this is what I used to hear, right? And I think it's still the same. Like is for things, right? Like is for things. I like a shoe, right? I like the bow tie you have on, right? I like that suit. I think like is for things. When you're using love, right, in biblical terms, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, all your strength, and your neighbor as yourself. In relationship, your closest neighbor is your wife, your husband. We love people. We're in a bad place in the world today, the world of politics, where we love things and we use people, right? We need to love people and use things to make people's lives better. And I think that's very important. And I think I see one of my mentors here in love, relationship, and marriage. That's a great Dr. Pastor Brennan. He's here.
Right. He's here. I was actually just reading that quote, right? And I was deep into it. He said, it's there. Yes. So, he said, let's look more deeply into what it is exactly that men are getting when they get sex. Sure, there's a physical pleasure, but there is a deeper need that is being satisfied. And he said, I call it, we could get there. He said, I call it the need for a safe harbor.
Yeah, and he's perfectly correct. And I think I was reading this text in Proverbs.
Sorry, let me get it from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Because I think this is really. So here's a quote from an article. So, what do men want more than sex? We've all heard that women need to feel loved to have sex, but men need to have sex to feel loved.
Yeah.
And he continues with the other part. Let's look more deeply at what is exactly that men are getting when they get sex. Sure, there's a physical pleasure, but there's a deeper need that is being satisfied, and it is called what? The need for a safe harbor.
Okay, let me right. So I'm saying, when you look at what is going on here, right, in the article, and you look at the Bible, for instance, Genesis 1, Genesis 2, right? What do we yearn for, right? I think he has, we yearn for connection, right? Oneness, bonding. So it's the physical sex has a higher purpose. For there is a connection, there is bonding. In fact, I'm trying to remember who wrote this thing about social bonding, right? Many times when we don't develop the social bonding the way we ought to, particularly through sensuality and so on, right? We find ourselves running straight into sex and not being satisfied.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. That so it's just an activity. Yeah, it's just an activity, but the whole gamut of what should be involved in it is important. Now, I want to ask a question, and this is coming from the list of questions that I have pre-prepared. How do you relate to connectedness and separateness in marriage?
Yeah, and connectedness and separateness, I think that is something I wrote about that some time ago.
Chapters of our heart.
Yeah. And it's important, right?
Right.
Because there has to be boundaries, there has to be differentiation. So while we are connected, yet there's some differentiation, yet there are some boundaries that we must observe. We must understand that two individuals are married, and to become enmeshed can be a real issue. Each person still has a brain, right? So the idea of believing that because the two has become one, then this person has lost his or her individuality, that's a problem, right? So if in this marriage, right, safety and security form the first law of the relationship, then each person in a connected relationship is able to self-disclose, say how I feel about this, right, what I think is wrong about this, and not believing or fearing that there will be some kind of serious repercussion if I say something or if I talk. The marriage is not going to work out. No. So connectedness and separateness, I think that is important, and they need to be held in balance, and the two must go together.
Right. You talk about the importance of having talks, and not just when conflicts arise, but one of the inevitability of relationships is that there will be conflicts. In previous time, I remember in counseling, you talked to Cara and I about dealing with the issues in marriage and attacking the issue and not each other. Many times things surface within a relationship, in marriage, within the love life, that causes the seed of distrust to actually seep in and start to germinate and grow, sometimes even grow into some tree. So the question on my mind is, what is the best way to build back trust after a difficult marital onslaught?
Listen, trust is hard to build and easy to destroy. Right? I mean, it's hard to build and it's easy to destroy. So let's suppose you may have some maybe extramarital affair, right? That can hit a partner, with it's like a punch in the solar plexus, right? It causes real problem, and you have problem of trust, because first, people feel betrayed, right? So it's difficult to trust again. So people are looking behind. They're checking everything, right? Because they can't trust. So how are you going to learn to trust again? How are you going to learn? You see, I spoke about getting people on equal footing, right? And one of it is forgiveness. If we have mutual forgiveness, right? And I go through that in biblical counseling with folk, how you do that, right? That's a whole process, right? So you have mutual forgiveness. Get two persons on the same footing. And then you begin to work from there. You begin to work from there in couple of terms, right, that we use to get people to put off some things and put on some new things, right? The big words are dehabituate and rehabituate. Put on some things and put off some things. Because there must be a lifestyle, right, that caused you to do some things that has created this environment of distrust. So we have to look at it, right? After you repent of it, after you have mutual forgiveness, then there's some things we have to work on that you have to put on, you have to put off. And the word accountability comes. So now we set up a structure of accountability. So wherever this person goes, right, I know where the person is. I know what the person is doing. We sit down with our mutual expectations for the future, and we write them. These are the expectations for our relationship. Anytime any one of those is breached, we need to sit down and talk and find out why it's breached.
Right.
It's going to be a process down the road to build trust again. Bad acts create distrust. They have a series of good acts that will help to remedy the situation and incrementally build back trust.
Wow. And you know that's so important. And many times when things happen in one's relationship, it's easy to feel that there's no way back. There's no road back. For both partners, the person who has done the wrong, and also the person who have been hurt. Sometimes the first thing that has been resorted to is, you know, my marriage is done, or all that I have invested in this relationship, it's all over. It's now good for nothing. But you're saying that there's a road back.
Yeah. And then inside, there's a dynamic also that I try to remind couples of, right? That the person who has been hurt, that person must be allowed to bring that up over and over again, and you must listen to it, because it's a process of grief.
It's a process. So you have to give time. You have to give time.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Because the person who may not have done the wrong act, right?
Mhm.
And the person who have done the wrong act, right? So
Right.
the person who have not done the wrong act will constantly bring it up, right? And you say, why this person keep bringing that up? Why you can't just drop it? Why can't I leave? No. Also, you have to understand that there is a process of grief that is going
Right.
on. In
Right.
fact, when I remember that Saturday, that Sabbath, when I was down in the Caribbean in December, my mother collapsed and died. Right? It took me nearly a year just talking about it. Everybody I meet just talking about it. So some people say, when are you gonna get over this? Get over it. Okay, people don't understand. These things, they're like it's like you're losing something very important, and the loss requires a process of grief.
Right. No, Dr. Joseph, I know that what we were actually planning for this weekend was to do a whole seminar, and we're not able to have it because of, you know,
we're gonna have to get Colin and Pastor Brennan, all those guys together, and we're gonna get it done. Don't worry.
Right. All right. So quick answers. One statement. What would you consider to be the greatest challenge in marriage?
To me, the greatest challenge in marriage, right, is spiritual connection. This is what I believe. People say communication, you know, people say unresolved anger. I believe connecting to God, paying attention, and understanding that harmony is God, God, Larry, and Shikara.
All right. Quick answer again. What advice would you offer to those preparing for marriage?
Those who are preparing for marriage, advice. I hate to give advice. I can tell you that. I learned that from Pastor Brennan. Anyway, this is what I'll say, right? If you want to prepare, you're preparing for marriage. I think again, spend time praying about what you're doing. Get into some spiritual intimacy first. I think you need to get that. Have a sense, and then try to understand the person you're going to get married to. Look at this. Adam and Eve, physical attraction, then covenant, then oneness, right? If you're not physically attracted to the person, right, I don't advise that you go ahead, right? So you need physical attraction, you need covenant, right? You need to move the covenant. If you don't move the covenant, you end up in problem. Physical, move the covenant, then you get into oneness.
All right. What are some of the best practices? Give us two to confront conflicts between husband and wife.
Best practices: team up. Team up. You team up, right? And then as a team, you break down the problem in manageable portions, and as a team, address every portion of the problem. I think that's the best practice. Team up to handle the problem.
Team up to handle the problem. All right. So the last one, how do you keep the novelty alive?
The novelty, this is what I'm saying, and C.S. Lewis, I think, write a bit about that as well, that too many times people think that, this is going to be happy forever after, living happily ever after. No.
Yeah.
Those days when it's going to be tough, when it's going to be dark. So you have to build the sensuality of your relationship. You have to keep the talking going, all the productive factors, the friendship. You have to keep going, the touching, the valuing, those things that have nothing to do with sex. You have to keep them going. As long as the sensuality is in place, the sexuality is going to follow.
All right. Sorry, I missed the end of that.
Yeah, I said as long as the sensuality is in place, the sexuality is going to follow.
All right. So you have heard it. All right. So you know what to do now. You need to get the content of what was shared and more. There are some questions within this offer today that you really want. Tell us in a snapshot exactly what individuals will be getting in this special offer today.
Yeah, in the special offer, of course, the very text that I went through, talking about the difference between secular love and biblical love, and how you protect the intimacy, right? And then at the end of it, you're going to see some questions that couples can do together that we didn't do this in this seminar here, because we want couples to do them together, and that is going to be able to help couples to measure where they are and what they need to do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Joseph, for coming on to Zoom Hope Live and to infusing hope into our love life or relationship or marriages. So we appreciate you all the time. So folks, you have just heard from Dr. Peter Joseph, who is a pastor here in the South Bahamas Conference. And of course, he is a consultant, a family life consultant, spiritual leadership consultant, evangelism, and discipleship. If you continue to follow our website, which we pray that you will do, you will be able to book him for a consultation. Go over to zoomhopelive.org and you will have a whole host of things to relate to there, as well as you'll be able to book him in the future. You'll see that tab there this week. Also, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you are watching on YouTube, please help us to get to 400 this week. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It has been a great experience just being here today. Protect your love life. Dr. Joseph told my wife and I, never sacrifice your outer circle for your inner circle. So how do you do that? You invest in it by watching this episode again with your partner, or by just send a small love gift to zoomhopelive.org. PayPal me/ZoomHopeLive, or you could just go to PayPal and type in our email address, zoomhopelive@gmail.com. And once you do that, we will see your email and we will send you today's special offer. It's easy as that. Whatever donation you have, $1, $5, $100, whatever, $1 million, we will take it. We will take it. And we just want you to enjoy the weekend and feel love and be loved. After we will listen to our song, I think it's Dwayne that is going to do that song at the end. Until next week, on behalf of Kevon Spence, our technical director, I am Larry Green. God bless you, and experience and live love.
I love you, Lord, for your mercies never failed me, and all my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire, through darkest nights. You are closer than no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. And all my life God has been faithful, and all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, sing all my life God has been faithful. He's a faithful God. All my life God has been so good, yeah. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, your goodness is running after, it's running after me, yeah. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything, Lord. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Yeah, your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything, Lord. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. All my life God has been faithful. He's a faithful God, and all my life God has been so good, yeah. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. He is a waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. That is who you are.
That is who you are.
And that is who you are.
That is who you are.
Provider is who you are.
That is who you are.
And faithful is who you are.
That is who you are.
Sing all my life, God has been faithful. And all my life, God has been so good, yeah. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Earthside, I've tried it on. My fight is more like a crow. Yeah, I've been broken and I've been hurting. Yeah, I keep searching, but self-help ain't working. Self-help ain't working. You are the cure I've waited for. You are my healing, Lord, the only hope I know for sure. Though my breath, my flesh may fail, oh my God, you never will. You are the cure. Heaven is limited.